Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, you can't work on being an alpha or becoming an alpha male. Well, apparently that's the opinion of somebody that made a comment on one of my YouTube videos. He says you can't work on being an alpha. Either you are or you aren't. And since being alpha is being the top dog, very few people can truly be alpha. And if you could only get women by being alpha as the case, only a few less people would ever get laid, which is obviously the case. Well, like I say all the time, what women respond to is dominant type of behavior, leadership type of behavior. And when they're faced with a group of guys, they're naturally going to pick the guy who exhibits the most dominant behavior, even if he happens to not be the most physically attractive or physically appealing of the group. Because you could have a very attractive man, but who's very effeminate, who's very feminized, who acts very submissive, very unsure of himself, and he acts more of like a follower. Now, it doesn't mean that that dude's never going to get laid. It just means that the alpha in the group is going to have a lot more choices. And like the things that I teach in my book is the more alpha, the more dominant type of behavior, the more you can exhibit it, qualities of masculine energy, confidence, purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing things without fear, being fearless in your actions. Even if you don't know how you're going to get to your destination or how you're going to build that business or how you're going to climb the corporate ladder and ultimately become CEO of that company that you want to someday work for, as long as you're moving in that direction because you're emotionally compelled and you have enthusiasm and you believe in yourself, you're going to be exhibiting alpha male type of energy. And like I said, when I was younger, I exhibited some alpha type characteristics, but I was so unsure of myself, especially when it came to interacting with women. In some cases, I acted like the leader. In other cases, especially when it came to women and dating when I was younger, I acted like the total beta male. And that's why I had plenty of girls that wanted to be my friend, but very few of them that wanted me to be their boyfriend or they wanted to be my girlfriend because of my behavior. Because I acted too effeminate. I acted too beta male. And like I said, the average woman is always going to be more physically attracted to the male who exhibits the most dominant behavior, even if he's not the most physically appealing of all of the guys in the group. And that's just the way things are in life. And so people don't necessarily change who they are in life, but they will and can become better versions of themselves. Like in my case, I realized what I was doing that caused me to act like a beta male and caused women to become turned off or lose attraction for me when I was younger. And so I simply stopped exhibiting beta behavior and started exhibiting more alpha behavior. And alpha male behavior comes from confidence. Well, what is confidence? Confidence is simply doing something that you know how to do really well and doing it over and over again. Repetition is the mother of skill. I say it all the time. And so whether it becomes to being successful with women, or if you're in sales, being able to successfully sell or close your potential prospect or client on the idea of doing business with you versus your competitor. When you first start out selling a product, you might not know the product very well or the service very well, but the more you do it, the more you go through the process, the more potential prospects you talk to and you interact with, you're going to start to see patterns, and you'll start to recognize how to overcome specific objections when the person says, well, I don't like that, or I don't like your company, or I read online your company doesn't have great reviews or testimonials, or that product didn't get reviewed real well, or whatever it happens to be. And the more you do it, the more you interact with people, there's only really a certain number of type of typical objections that somebody's going to have to doing business with you. And when you do it enough and you practice enough, you get good at answering those objections. And when you've been doing something for several years and you've literally been through it thousands of times, it's like almost you become psychic to know like when that person's going to voice an objection or what's going to come up in the sales process. And so you get to the point where it's just easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Because like you already have the answer, before they've even asked you the question, just because you've been through the process hundreds or even thousands of times with other customers, and you've successfully learned the strategy and the skill to answering those objections and solving the problem, so they go ahead and do business with you. And like I said, it's a learned behavior. Becoming successful with women is a learned behavior. If I didn't grow up in a healthy family, I grew up in a very dysfunctional, fucked up family. And so I had to learn all this stuff on my own, because there was no example anywhere in my family that I could emulate. And even there were very few friends that I knew that really got this stuff on a deep level, where their success was repeatable and they were always dating the most attractive, the most desirable of the women that we would meet. And so, like I said, it's something that you have to practice on, but you can definitely get better. And like in my case, I had to learn strategies. And I learned strategies by studying other people that were successful at what I want to do. And in essence, I role modeled the success of other people who already had the success that I wanted. And so I started using the same techniques, the same strategies, the same mindsets. I adopted the same types of belief systems that they had. And so when I applied the same things that they were doing, eventually I started to get the same type of results. And the more I did it, the more I practiced at it, the better I became at it. And the better I became at it, the easier it was, and the more confident I became. And the more I became confident, the better quality of woman that I was able to attract into my life went up as well. And like anything in life, if you do something over and over again, or like we look at people, like famous people, like a Michael Jackson, or a Michael Jordan, or a kid like a Justin Bieber, and you look at these people and you go, oh, well, they're just rich, famous, good looking, they were born that way. What nobody looks at is the fact that when they were all little kids, they practiced over and over and over and over and over and over for literally thousands and thousands and thousands of hours over many decades to perfect their craft. And so when they're famous and everybody knows about them, it's easy to look at that person on stage, or the CEO of that company that you look up to, or that entrepreneur that you admire, and say, oh, they're handsome, or they were born good looking, or they were born rich, or everything just kind of fell in their lap. They were lucky. They had the right education. Nobody wants to look at the fact that they just practiced over and over and over and over again their craft because they loved it, because it was emotionally compelling to them. It was exciting to them. So they did what was necessary in order to learn their craft, because to them, it wasn't really work. They did it because they loved it. And that's why it's so important that you choose something to do as your purpose and your mission in life, as something that's emotionally compelling to you, something that's exciting. Because the only way you'll get really good at it is if it's emotionally compelling, if it's something that you really love. Because when things get harder, they get difficult, or the future looks like it's in doubt, you won't do what's necessary. You'll just give up and go and do something that's easy, or that gets you a steady paycheck. So those are some things to think about. But like I said, the success that I have in my life in every area, whether it's health or dating or relationships or pickup skills or business skills or entrepreneurship skills or web development skills, quality of life, health, cleansing, detoxifying my body. I mean, those are all things that I just simply learned from the best coaches and the best teachers in the world. And I learned their strategies and I applied them in my own life, and I got the same kinds of results. And that's what enables me to help other people, or to be able to read a dude's email that's on the other side of the planet and be able to read between the lines, look at what he's doing, what he's saying, what the girl is saying, what she's doing. And I don't care what he says or how he tries to sugarcoat things and make himself look better. I can tell exactly what's going on just by what people are doing and saying in the interaction, because I understand the psychology of success. I understand what motivates people to do what they do in life. Why one person who has every advantage, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, never accomplishes the same level of success that, say, somebody that came from the ghetto and became a multi-billionaire. It's all about belief systems and personal internal psychology. And when you study enough successful people and you apply the little subtle differences that make the difference in their own lives and their own careers and their businesses, you can't help but get the same kinds of results. And when you get the same kinds of results, just like applying the stuff that I teach, it builds your confidence. It makes you feel better about applying it. And then it gets to the point where you really don't have to think about it anymore. And that's where I like to call as being effortless, where you just respond in ways that are appropriate for the moment or for the interaction just because you've been through it so many times before. It makes life pretty easy and effortless, and that way you can focus on your purpose and your mission and your vision in life, and the personal relationship aspect of your life will just, for the most part, just take care of itself. Those are some things to think about. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be in the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several weeks to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session, and you can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, there's a box that has a link that will take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for whatever electronic device you want to read my book on. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters, the articles on my website, or my ebook, you can show your appreciation right now by going to my website, and there will be a toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. And I will talk to you soon.